What's going on, everyone? This is the CLNS Media's New England Patriots Postgame Show. Marvin is on. Mike Molyneaux. We are here right after the Patriots game, where a wild finish almost took place. Marv, Patriots got the win, 38-31 against the Chicago Bears in Chicago. But that last play there, with a Hail Mary pass from Trubisky to the end zone, Kevin White came down with it.
Out of all people, Kevin White.
You know, I think that's probably only second catch of the season for the year. And he came down with it on pretty much the 1 yard line. But the Patriots gang tech, I think Harmon was there to really push him, and then they all ganged up and really forced him out of the end zone to bring an end to the game. But wild finished. Again, Patriots get the win, 38-31. What a game. A lot of action in this one for sure.
I mean, I think when you think about this game, one thing that comes to mind, Mike, is special teams. Special teams was huge. You get the first of all, it starts off a little funky. You know, Cordell Patterson fumbles the ball off his second kick return, and then, you know, Chicago Bears capitalize off of that. But then he redeems himself later on in the series. I believe in the second quarter, he takes it all the way to the house, and then you get also a block punt by Hightower, which Kyle Van Noy takes it into the end zone. So special teams was huge for this game. You see a score in 38 points, you're thinking, man, Brady must have thrown for maybe 4 or 5 touchdowns. He might have had a stat that went off like last week against the Texans.
True.
And that just did not happen.
Yeah, man. Again, like I said, a lot of action back and forth. Points were being put up. 38 points for the Patriots, 31 for Chicago. You know, obviously Trubisky has had a couple of solid games this season where he's put up big yards, big numbers. I think he threw for 6 touchdown passes in one of his games. But the Patriots, for the most part, held him in check. You know, guy went 26 for 50, 2 touchdown passes, 2 interceptions, but 50 passing attempts. That's a lot. That's a lot. Right. You know, that's numbers that usually the real gunslingers out there, like maybe Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, maybe they're throwing for 50. But I did not expect to see Trubisky come out and throw the ball 50 times. You know, at the same time, he was doing a lot of work with his legs as well. He rushed 6 times for 81 yards. He was making a lot of plays happen with his feet. And I mean, it was surprising to see. I knew, you know, a lot of these new age quarterbacks, they're able to do that. They're able to scramble outside of the pocket and pick up yards. But he was rushing, but it's not even like he was doing anything fancy. He wasn't out there like a Cam Newton or something where he was maybe juking players or stiff arming. He was doing a nice little stutter step, and, you know, giving himself space and room to work with. So that was the real confusing part to me as to why the Patriots really couldn't get a handle on him.
Mitchell Trubisky, man, you go off a game facing Patrick Mahomes. You know, he has a great game. We know how mobile he is, but I don't know if the Patriots were prepared for Mitchell Trubisky to rush like he did. And like you said, Mike, it was simple. It was simple movements. It wasn't like he was going off for maybe what. He was looking like Michael Vick out there doing spin moves, juking that. It was simple movement that the Patriots defenders, they've done this a lot now, Mike, where they over pursue. They go straight ahead onto the quarterback. All the quarterback has to do is slightly move, and they miss him. It's getting kind of embarrassing now, because there's times where the Patriots have great opportunities to sack the quarterback, and because they over pursue a simple movement, if the quarterback moves up in the pocket, boom, he gets free, and Mitchell Trubisky took advantage of that. Shout out to him. He threw for 330 yards. You know, 2 touchdowns and an interception, and had 80 yards for rushing. So that's a great game from Mitchell Trubisky. Something that the Patriots definitely did not game plan for.
Yeah, you know, obviously you figured a guy like Tariq Cohen is a playmaker. Jordan Howard is a strong, you know, punched up the gut type of running back. So there's a lot of other playmakers, but, you know, you didn't think that Trubisky would really put his, you know, a stamp on the game and in plays that he can make. But obviously he did. You know, he put them in a position to win this game, especially late in that fourth quarter. He was driving. He was driving before the Patriots were able to get the ball back. With that late interception, I think that's what happened. But before that, yes, Trubisky was driving up the field and making plays. Again, 50 passing attempts. That's a lot for any quarterback, any game, no matter what part of the season it is. But we could get back into more of the game action and what we saw from the offense and defense. But the biggest storyline coming out of this game, for sure, is the loss of Sony Michel going down to a knee injury. He only was able to finish the game with 4 carries for 22 yards. He even caught a pass from Brady for 13 yards. But, he got his leg got caught up in an awkward position where I think someone might have landed on him.
Right.
And on top of the fact, he fumbled the ball. So it was just a double whammy in a sense where you lose a guy to injury and then you turn the ball over. But, everybody starts right now is with Sony Michel, and what's the status with him and his leg for sure?
Mike, that's a major loss. That's a major loss for this team. I know I said it a couple times here on this show. The Patriots are going to go as far as Sony Michel takes them. I felt like he is the key factor for this for a championship run on this team, and it hasn't. Him going, we don't know the intent, how far the extent of this injury, but it didn't look good, and just seeing him walk off the field with 2 guys holding him, he looked like he was walking in so much pain in that game. Sony Michel, now you're going with a Barner and James White. Barner's not the greatest runner. James White, he's been running well, but that's not his specialty. He needed a guy like Sony Michel that complements him well. You lose Burkhead. You lose Sony Michel. You lose Jeremy Hill. Those are 3 guys you figured would be major factors onto this team. Now you're pretty much down to just James White, and it's going to look like the offense that we've seen before, where it's mainly a passing offense, where Brady has to throw the ball a lot more times than he would like to, and this is still a 41-year-old quarterback. It's just not a good sign.
Yeah, again, you've had almost 3 solid weeks of a dual back, solid combination of Sony Michel and James White, driving the ball up the field, whether coming out of the backfield or James White catching the ball and making plays happen. You've had a great dual threat combination with Sony Michel and James White, and now Sony Michel could be out for who knows how long. Hopefully it's just a bad sprain.
Right.
That's what you can hope for, and he may need a game or 2. And maybe is this the same knee that he injured and was dealing with during the offseason and whatnot? We don't know the full extent yet, but it was tough to see him watch. I think the report was that he was carried off the field, with 2 trainers by his side or whatnot. After he got to the sideline, got to the tent, they decided, okay, he needs to be carted off, and they brought a cart for him and took him into the locker room. So anytime you see a cart come out to the field, it's never a good sign for a player. But yeah, it's a huge loss. Everything you just said is completely true. Right now, it's just James White. You brought up Barner from the practice squad, but that was not the plan. It wasn't the plan to lose Burkhead. It wasn't the plan to lose Jeremy Hill. It's never the plan to lose a player, period. But, in a position now that's really, really weak, there's no depth there. Patriots, honestly, have to probably make a move if they want. I mean, yes, they could go. They have Tom Brady. At the end of the day, they have Tom Brady. Thankfully, the receivers are healthy. Obviously, Gronk is dealing with something. But, again, the reports were that he'll be back for week 8. So the guys are there on the receiving side of the ball. But do you make a move to try to find that balance again to complement, the offense, the wide receivers? Do you try to go make a move to find a balance and bring another running back in to be there?
You have to bring in someone. And this is when, a couple weeks ago, this is news that we didn't bring up because we thought it'd be nothing. But now it becomes something. Webb. You had a guy in Webb that was in preseason with you.
Solid games,
he was in your practice squad very well, and then you cut him loose. Obviously because you see you got this duo going on. You have Barn in the background, but now Webb would have been perfect to move him back up here. He was a hard runner. I loved what I saw from him in the preseason. We talked about him a couple of times when we were doing the preseason show, Mike. So now not having him, that hurts a lot, man. And it's going to be interesting to see what the Patriots do moving on. I mean, it's great you got this win. No Gronk. Something we didn't mention yet. Gronk was not playing in this game. You have no Sony Michel. So you relied heavy on James White. And, Mike, James White, once again, played well. 11 carries for 40 yards. And then in the receiving game, 8 receptions for 57 yards, 2 touchdowns. This guy is Brady's #1 target. He's taken over the Edelman role. He's Brady's #1 target now. And every time he gets the ball, something good happens. But how much do you want to utilize him before you wear him down as well? So you need to have that balance with him.
Yeah, and a great comment that just came in here from D. Murphy is he feels James White could possibly get hurt if he's carrying the ball a lot. And honestly, it's true. James White has never been a guy who is supposed to be out there for 20-plus carries in a game. He's always and should always be in a position where he's just complementing maybe a power back or somebody who can, work the way Sony Michel has been working these last couple of weeks. I don't think the Patriots ever envisioned James White as being the solid number one 20-plus carries a game type of guy. What he does for the Patriots, he does it really well. And it's a guy similar to the role that we've seen over the years with the Woodheads, the Vareens, these guys that have come through and just been able to be depended upon to catch balls at the running back position, almost like a wide receiver, not the power back that the Patriots have had over the years, like Sony Michel. Before you had LeGarrette Blount for a while. So I agree, D. Murph, that's not James White's, cup of tea. I don't want to see James White as the number one. He's a great running back, don't get me wrong. He does his job very well. But to be that number one guy that you need to hand the ball off to, 15, 20 times, that's not his role. That's not where he shines. So I think a move definitely has to be made for sure.
Another thing I want to bring up, Mike, is, something we always say here when we see turnovers, that was very uncharacteristic of the Patriots. It's starting to be characteristic. Mm-hmm. Patriots are turning the ball over a lot. Fumbling is another thing that they're starting to do. In this game, we had Cordarrelle Patterson. We saw the fumble. Sony Michel, when he got hurt, you saw the fumble. Julian Edelman, let's not forget when he was in the punt return, he completely whiffed on the ball, too, that bounced off of his head. Tom Brady throwing that pass to James Devlin.
I think that was a fumble.
Whether it's a fumble or interception, wasn't a good throw. First of all, Brady, this wasn't a good throw. Devlin couldn't hold on to the ball. So these are a lot of turnovers that are happening in this game that are putting Patriots in this positions. I think I want to quote the person right. Matthew Party said that, the defense looking terrible. Let's be real. Yeah, sure, the defense hasn't been great, but Mike, they've been put in bad situations. They've been put in situations where the Chicago's offense or whoever they're playing's offense has a short field. Mm-hmm. When they have, they have to march down the field 80 yards a game, the Patriots defense hold their own. But now with all these turnovers, of course teams are going to score. Of course they're going to score 31 points. And that's why you need to score 38 or 40-plus points to be able to win. These offensive turnovers are killing the Patriots.
Yeah, man. And Patriots are not a team that's really known to make a lot of turnovers.
They are this year.
But this year, again, like you said, this year it's becoming a reoccurring thing. Either fumbles are taking place. And I feel like, excuse me if I'm wrong, but I feel like Brady has thrown an interception in almost every game this season, and this is a guy who, over the years, his interception rate has gone down. He's not really known to turn over the ball himself too much. Obviously, you can't control the tip pass sometimes or whatnot, but Brady's not going to be the one to really throw the ball into coverage too much that has the opportunity to get picked off. But again, like you said, the turnovers happening a lot this year. So Patriots are getting this win. Their record sits at 5-3 right now. Yeah. I'm sure it's 5-3. But turnovers is something that you got to correct if you really want to be one of the elite teams in the league. I mean, you look at a team like Kansas City. To start the year, turnovers weren't an issue for them. They were just running through teams. Patrick Mahomes wasn't really making too many mistakes out there. Usually a team that plays, mistake-free football and they're not turning the ball over, that's sometimes most likely the team that's going to come out victorious. But Patriots are squeaking by right now. They find a way to get it done, and you got to be happy with that. Another area of the game that I definitely want to talk about, obviously you didn't have Gronkowski today. And, people are obviously going to have the question mark of, Gronkowski's not there. Brady's top target, favorite target to throw to. But how would the Patriots respond not having him? Honestly, I think – I don't feel like you're always going to miss Gronk. You're always going to miss Rob Gronkowski on the field. But it didn't really show that they were dreading not having his presence on the field, in my opinion. Yes, you want him out there because he just adds to much more success for the team offensively. But I think, at least in this game right here, maybe in a different game against a different opponent with a different defense, could be a different story. But in this game right here, missing Rob Gronkowski wasn't huge, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, Gronk's the guy that the last time they played the Bears, he scored 3 touchdowns on, right? He's an amazing. We know how great he is for this Patriots team. I believe last week, if you don't have Gronk, you don't win the game, even with his only 3 receptions. However, this team is built to play without Gronk now. They've got it, especially now that you have Edelman, you have all these weapons. They understand that they can lose Gronk at any moment. This guy's injury prone. They played many games. They played seasons. They played Super Bowls without Rob Gronkowski. So if Gronk is not able to play a game, and I'm pretty sure they knew, even though we just probably found out he wasn't going to play like yesterday, it was doubtful, whatever.
Yep.
Patriots went into this week understanding that they wouldn't have Gronk.
True.
So they practice for it. And when you have those passing running backs and things like that, you can make up for it for not having Gronk. And this team will be fine without him in weeks in and week out. Now, if you lose Gronk for the season, then, that puts a burden onto Brady. But in a game where they can be prepared, I think Gronk would have made this game easier, but the offense played well. The offense, we got to give a shout out to the offensive line. The offensive line was amazing. Khalil Mack, you barely heard his name during this game. They focus. When they can focus on one pass rusher, they do a very good job in that. And Khalil Mack wasn't a factor in this game. Pretty much Brady was able to, freely throw the ball down the field. James White looked good running the ball. Barner was going down the field a little bit. So the offensive line, this is weeks in, week out now that they have great games for this team.
Man, I feel like that's been one of the mainstays for the Patriots over the course of the season. There were question marks with the offense in the beginning, not having Edelman and whatnot, trying to work guys in. The defense has been up and down. But I feel like if there's one solid consistency with this Patriots team, it has been the offensive line. And yes, they've suffered some injuries. They've missed guys that could be very useful. But they've been solid all season long. I think they've been doing an awesome job, again, over the last 3 weeks where Sony Michel was at his greatest. We talked about on the roundtable last week, if we think Sony Michel is one of the top running backs in the league. Yes, he's doing a great job running the ball and doing his thing, but a lot of credit has to go to the offensive line as well and being able to clear the space for him and allow him to work. So I think a lot of credit needs to be given to the offensive line and what they can do. If you give James White that role of being a guy who takes 20 carries, he can't do it. But maybe the Patriots say, look, we have trust and faith that our offensive line will, clear the path for him and let him be able to work a little bit. Now, again, in my opinion, I don't think James White is built for that role, and I don't think he should be placed in that role to do that. But this offensive line has been very solid for the Patriots over the years, whether it be protecting Brady or clearing the space and run blocking. So, I got to give it got to give a lot of credit where credit is due for the offensive line. So shout out to them for sure.
Hey, Boston sports fans, do you want to get a killer seats to your favorite team for the price of a beer or a large pizza? Tired of paying all those inflated markups from brokers or last-minute convenience charges so you end up paying courtside prices for nosebleed seats? Go to 1in10-0.co. That's 1in100.co. Feeling lucky? Try it now. The novelty in 1in100 in that there's no other place online that's doing online raffles to win tickets to events. It's a totally new way to score tickets to your favorite events or a new way to score Boston Celtics tickets. Celtics are kind of hot right now.
Sure are, 2-1.
Hot. Tickets to events are hard to get in and get good ones that are least expensive. The cost to potentially score tickets with 1in100 is a small fraction of the actual ticket price. Score a pair of tickets for less than the cost of a beer. Your first raffle is free after signing up. The experience of using 1in100 is extremely fun and exciting, from picking your lucky number to the feeling of potentially scoring premium tickets. Feeling lucky? Try it. 1in100.co. That's 1ONEIN1ZERO. That's ZERODOT.co. 1in100.
Marv, I ain't gonna lie to you, man, and to the viewers out there. I've been looking and trying to see what running backs are available, at least free agent wise, and it's not looking good. Again, we don't know the extent of Sony Michel's injury. He could be out for the season. He could be out for a couple weeks. Who knows? It didn't look good just from the eye test. It didn't look good. So I've been out here looking at what's available, and it's not looking too good. I feel like in terms of Patriots trying to go out and look for something, obviously maybe a trade with another team is probably what needs to take place. But there's nobody out there on the free agent unless you're trying to bring DeMarco Murray out of retirement or something like that. No. Like, I don't see anybody available, at least free agent wise.
There's a comment out there that I see right now, Le'Veon.
I saw Le'Veon's bell, and there's a lot of things there. First of all, are Patriots just trying to rent him for a year? Yeah, you could use him as a 1-year rental because
but you have to give up a lot.
You'd have to give up a lot, rental, and it'd be a 1-year rental. 2, Steelers not doing that. Steelers are probably willing to trade Le'Veon Bell, but not to the New England Patriots.
They've come out and already said that they're not trying to trade Le'Veon Bell.
Well, I mean, but what if a team, even if it is the Patriots or anybody else, they give up the king's ransom for the guy? I'm talking first round. You're telling me there's nothing that could be put on the table in front of the Steelers for a trade?
The fact that the Patriots went out and spent a first-round pick on a running back was shocking enough. But for you seeing them trade everything for Le'Veon, nah, they wouldn't do that. Let's wait and see what's the word out on Sony Michel. I think, you find out what you can do to bring in Webb. Wherever practice squad he's in, you try to get him and sign him, bring him in here, and you roll it out with James White, Barner, and Webb. That's I think is the most ideal way to go about it.
Ugly.
It's ugly, but you'll manage. True. You'll manage. Burkhead, of course, is on IR, but he can come back at a certain time. You're gonna have bodies coming back later, so we'll see. We're hoping for the best right now with this Sony Michel news.
Hey, like Ted DiBiase said, everybody's got a price. So if Steelers want to really make a move, there's a price, and which team is willing to make that price? I don't think it's going to be the Patriots. It's not going to be the Patriots. But, I mean, yeah, and again, everything you're saying, if you do go get Webb and bring him back, if you do roll out there with Barner, Webb, and Sony Michel, you get Burkhead back after weeks, I think it's week 8. Week 8 or 9, you're able to come back from the IR. I'm not too sure. But either way, again, like I said earlier, this is an offense that's built on Tom Brady and his arm and what he's able to do with that. So thankfully, for the Patriots, a lot of their, faith doesn't have to be put on the running back position because they've had years where the running backs have not done jack squat for them. And, the Patriots are still able to find a lot of success because of Brady and the weapons that he has. So
it's up to, your Josh McDaniels to really start getting creative on what he's going to do with that running back position. James White is going to be out there getting the catches.
Yep.
Barner, he's more of a guy James White. He's James White light. That's his role. We obviously seen him more doing the running down the middle because someone needs to do it. But we'll see how Josh McDaniels tackles this.
There's some names being thrown up here a lot. I see a name from Griffin Kovari saying maybe you give Detroit a little nudge, Matt Patricia, and say, hey, swing LeGarrette Blount back this way.
No. You
could give Matt Patricia
I can see
call.
The thing is,
you can
it's
see
a great take. It's a great take. I see it happening. But personally, I don't want Blount here. I don't want
Blunt's time is come and gone.
Yeah, it's come and gone. I'm all set with Blount. It's a great take, though. I can see that happening.
All right. Another comment here is maybe you hit up the Raiders. They're looking like they're probably in tank mode. They're trying to get rid of everybody, and at this point, maybe you just tank and have Gruden reset. Next offseason, the way this season's progressing, maybe they're trying to swing Marshawn Lynch. He's hurt.
I like that.
I like that too. He's hurt right now. He's dealing with a groin injury. He might miss the next couple of games or two.
That's true. That injury might shake. If Marshawn Lynch was healthy, I like it. The only thing I don't like is the 3rd round pick for him.
Too high
for Marshawn Lynch, but I like the idea.
Yeah, for sure. So, if you have any other thoughts on what the Patriots can do, at the running back position, all the talk right now is Sony Michel and his status moving forward. But if you have any other ideas, keep sending them our way because, Patriots can make a move and bring somebody else to be a complement to the offense and to James White. So let's see what can happen here.
One good thing though, Mike, you never want to put an opponent down or anything like that. But the Patriots get a light week next week. Longer week to rest, recover. You play Monday night, and you play against the Buffalo Bills. If there was a week to face the Buffalo Bills, it'd be now. It'd be right now while you're hurting. I mean, Buffalo Bills, they got a quarterback in Josh Allen, who's also very mobile. And
he's also hurt.
And he's hurt. What's his status for?
That's another thing. His status is up in the air as well, too. You know, if it's not him, I doubt they. Please play Peterman if that's what they want to do.
If they play Peterman, if you play fantasy football, starts Patriots defense.
Yeah, and I mean another thing too with facing the Bills next week is, do you need to rush Gronk back? Does Gronk need to be rushed back to the field, to the playing field? Because, you know, again, I'm not trying to put down any opponent, but, you know, it's the Buffalo Bills. Maybe Gronk can take a day off and just.
What I heard was they were resting. They were resting Gronk for this week so he could be ready for the Buffalo Bills matchup.
But if they go through this week of practice,
right,
and Gronk is still a little hobbled, I would say no need to rush him back. You can definitely say, look, you need another week to get your back in order, get your ankle in order. They looked fine again today going up against the Chicago Bears. I think they'll be quite all right if Gronk was to miss that game. They can get him back for week 9 and be ready to go. You know, there's a big matchup coming up really soon against the Green Bay Packers.
Right.
And obviously the Green Bay Packers are not, you know, cream of the crop right now in the NFL. Aaron Rodgers had a great game last week where he brought them and led them to a victory.
All it takes is, with this defense, a great quarterback to dice you up. So it doesn't matter what the team is looking like. You know that your team is going to put up points. It's what can your defense do? You know, someone brought it up earlier. I'm not going to go back at the moment. I'll give you a shout out later. But they said that this team looks like the 2011 defense. And if you remember the 2011 defense, that's, I believe, when we went to the Super Bowl. But their defense was just bad, got diced up, and Brady just needed to throw for 300 yards every game. And, you know, he was a younger Brady then, great offense as well. But this team is looking like that in some sort of way because you're letting up 30 plus points a game at this moment.
If this team is like that 2011 team, I will say this team has the advantage where they have better weapons. I'm thinking of 2011, and you had Gronk, you had Aaron Hernandez. At the wide receivers, my goodness, that wasn't the Kembro Tompkins year and Dobson. You know, the wide receivers were they weren't big name guys that, you know, it's hard to really recall too much. But if you look at it compared to this year, Edelman, Gronk, Josh Gordon, Dorsett, who can still make plays, Hogan's out there, Cordell Patterson's a playmaker. You know, those are a lot of guys that just listed that. Yes, Brady's 41. Do you want him throwing, you know, 45 plus times in a game? Probably not. But I think the way Brady's set up, TB12 method, his body, his arm, I think if he needs to make it happen, he could. He just did it a year ago in the Super Bowl where he threw 50-something times. So
for 500 plus yards.
500 plus yards. So I think the way the offense is set up, if you have to, you know, if this has to be a year where, look, we got to outscore the opponents to win the game, I think they'll be capable of doing that. But I don't think this defense is that bad. This game wasn't too good, but I don't also think this defense is that. I still think somewhere this defense has potential to just be solid. I know in the beginning of this game, they said this Patriots defense is averaging the most points they've had, I think, under Belichick. If I think that stat is correct, I think they're averaging around – their average right now is 24 points a game coming into today's matchup. Obviously, that's gone up, you know, giving up 31 points to Chicago. But I just feel like this defense somewhere, hopefully towards after the bye week or something, they'll just be really able to lock in on all cylinders and click and be solid moving forward.
What I did like was, you know, Rowe finally came back, and now they put him in the dime nickel package. He's no longer side by side with Gilmore. We saw how that worked out. But then when he got hurt, you put in a guy like J.C. Jackson in to replace him, and he got targeted a lot. Mitchell Trubisky was going for him, and he made a lot of penalties, Mike. A lot of hand in the face. He got beat a couple times. But then he comes back, and he gets that interception, which was huge. You know, J.C. Jackson, he's a guy in preseason when watching him, he just kept making big plays. He's young right now. He's getting targeted a lot. He's going to make mistakes. But you know, somehow, someone he's going to fight. It reminds me a little bit of Malcolm Butler.
Yeah, you know, throw him right into the fire. You know, this guy, rookie, like you just said, mistakes will be made, but he's getting opportunities to get game action and be on the field. So, you know, sometimes people say experience is the best teacher, and that's what he's getting right now, being on the field. Unfortunately, it may come at the cost of somebody else getting injured ahead of him on the depth chart. That's unfortunate. But once you're on the field, you know, especially under Belichick and this Patriots organization, as soon as you step foot on the field, you're expected to do your job and do it great. No matter if you're a 12-year vet or a rookie coming into the first season, the Patriots are going to put you in the uniform to do your job and do your job well. So, you know, J.C. Jackson, I think, like you said in the preseason, he has big plays that he can make happen. So I think the Patriots have him on his team for a reason, and he'll continue to shine. You know, if he's trending in the Malcolm Butler direction, that'd be great because Malcolm Butler did have a great year 2 seasons ago.
Right.
So let's hope that J.C. Jackson continues to develop and can become a solid piece of this defense moving forward.
And shout out to Clifton. It was him who brought up the 2011 defense.
Okay, all right, Clifton. You see you with that comment for sure, man. But, you know, Marv, I'm looking at the time here.
Right.
I already saw some comments coming in. We got to get to the stars and sorries of the game.
Yes, sir.
Obviously, if you have some coming in,
put them down so we can, you know, read yours, and we'll let you know our takes as well as the stars and sorries of the game.
So let's kick it off with the stars. You know, I'm seeing a comment right here again from Clifton. He says his 3 stars of the game are Josh Gordon, Trent Brown, and Donta Hightower for that blocked punt that he had, which was huge. You know, the blocked punt led to, I think, Kyle Van Noy scooped up the ball and brought it back home for a touchdown. So I think I'll give Donta Hightower a star for sure. I agree with you, Clifton. You know, that block punt was huge. And I think over the season, we've been talking about Hightower a lot and him, you know, kind of just disappearing and not really being there. Looking slow as well. But I think this is like 2 games in a row now. He's made some big plays. And again, a block punt is huge for your defense and being able to put 6 points up on the board. So I'll definitely give him a star, and hopefully he can continue to find that, you know, rhythm of making big plays, whether it be a block punt, whether it be a huge sack, strip sack, forced fumble, whatever the case may be. Donta Hightower definitely has big play mentality. So
Donta Hightower. I think that's 2 weeks in a row now that Hightower is a star of the game, and that's what you want from your best defensive player. I got 2 different stars, Mike, on this game.
Let us know.
So last week I gave it to the offensive line. This week I'm gonna give it to the cornerback group. I'm gonna give it to the defensive backs. You know, Stephon Gilmore won. He's been a dog, man. He's been a dog out there. He's been playing very well. You know, when he gets targeted, he doesn't get targeted much. But when he gets targeted, he's just been making the right plays. Stephon Gilmore, he's a guy that's been in the Patriots fans' doghouse. You know, it's been easy to criticize because of all the money he's got, so he's going to get all the attention. Second year around, though, Mike, he's been playing very well. And the other reason I want to give it to the whole defensive group, Jonathan Jones, man. That catch, that one-handed catch was amazing. And then you bring in J.C. Jackson, who I mentioned. You know, he had that interception as well. This defensive backcourt, the cornerbacks right now, they're not playing bad. A guy we didn't mention, Jason McCourty. Yeah, I think it's Jason McCourty. I'm trying not to get mixed up with Devin. But Jason McCourty, he's been playing well too in that cornerback position. Ever since he took it when Eric Rowe got hurt, he's been playing well. So I understand that they've been giving up a lot of points.
Yep.
And, you know, Patriots have been turning the ball over, but now they're starting to cause some turnovers as well, which is very important for this team. So there's a lot, you can see a lot of negatives, but also the pros as well on this defense trending upwards. Yeah. So I got to give it to the defensive back core. My second, James White.
I was thinking the same thing as you, my guy.
James White, man, the guy's a baller.
Sure is.
He hasn't disappointed in one game, Mike. Like we'll say his numbers again: 11 carries for 40 yards, then 8 receptions on 10 targets, 57, 2 touchdowns. that he is become Brady's favorite target. That's Brady's #1 guy, and he's been playing great. I think you got to start talking about James White and considering him in a Pro Bowl selection. That's how well he's been playing.
I can't disagree with you at all, especially in a game like today where you lose Sony Michel. So James White had to maybe take a couple more extra carries more than he did, especially towards the end of the game where Patriots were just trying to chew clock. You know, you didn't have Sony Michel in there to move the chains and pick up those yards to just watch the clock wind down. So it was up to James White, and I think he did a solid job in doing that. You know, even though that is not his role, that's not usually what's expected of him. But he stepped up in a game where they needed him to do that, and he was that for the Patriots. So I agree with you 100%. James White gets a star of the game from me as well. But when there's the good,
there's the bad.
And when you're bad on this show right here, we tell you sorry. So, sorries, bring them in. Let us know who you guys have as sorries. Me, if I had to start off with a sorry in this game, you know, I'll definitely give one. This is tough because he kind of bounced back. You know what? I was going to say Cordell Patterson, but because he bounced back.
You can't give it to Cordell.
And he came back with that.
You can't give it to Cordell,
I won't give Patterson a sorry of the game. But if I did have to give a sorry out, this is a sorry for a man who I don't even know how many snaps he got. But the fact that he's a non-factor. Patriots played this game and didn't have a single reception from a tight end. Single. I know the Patriots have a backup tight end on this team.
You can't give him a sorry.
I'm going to give him a sorry.
I'm going to defend him.
Like, is he hurt? Is he hurt?
He was in the game. I saw him blocking.
He out there. Yes, the Patriots have other options, a lot of other options at wide receiver. But are we just going to accept the fact that Dwayne Allen is just nothing but a blocking tight end?
That's what he is.
That's it. He's
He's a traditional blocking tight end. That's it, Mike.
The fact that, but before he came to the New England Patriots.
Okay, let it go. Let it go.
He was on the Indianapolis Colts, where he was a solid option in the receiving game.
The Patriots saw that first season it wasn't working out. So they made him a traditional tight end where he's just blocking, or he'll be a safety blanket if anything worse comes to worse. And Brady doesn't even use him as a safety. He'll rather throw to James Devlin.
James Devlin got a target over Dwayne Allen. And I would say maybe possibly Dwayne Allen, he must have better hands than James Devlin. Because if that wasn't the case, you need to change Dwayne Allen to a fullback and call it a day. But he's a tight end. Either way, all right, Marv, you tried to defend him a little bit. So here's what I'll do. I won't give him a sorry because he sucked and didn't do anything in the game. I'll give him a sorry because the mighty have fallen. He's gone from a guy who could catch balls, catch a couple touchdowns and whatnot to just come in, block, and take your ass back to the bench. So Dwayne Allen, not a bad sorry, but still a sorry.
I'm saying sorry because I tried to defend you. I thought Dwayne Allen had a good game.
He had
a good game.
But that's all he is now.
That's what he is. It's what he is.
This guy's just a blocker now. That's it.
My sorry goes to, man, I've been waiting to say this. Landon Roberts.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
Landon Roberts, man. That guy, yeah, he's just a sorry. He's just a sorry player. Like, when I was talking about, being there against the quarterbacks and overshooting a play, he's the king of that. He's just the king. He overshoots his target and he gets juked out by Mitchell Trubisky. When I tell you, it was one of the slowest jukes I've ever seen in my life. It was a two-step, a half a two-step. He just moved.
It's like he was doing the cha-cha slide, and all the dude said was slide to the left, and that's all Trubisky did. And he was past
and then all of a sudden, Landon Roberts, this game was pretty close throughout. You have a chance in the end zone to really where the Chicago Bears offense were rolling. They're in the red zone, and Landon Roberts makes a great play, Mike. About to get the interception and drops it. They end up scoring the next drive with Jordan Howard. Landon Roberts you have to have him there. You need the depth in the linebacker position. But week after week now, man, he's just missing plays and he's hurting this Patriots defense. So I gotta give Landon Roberts a sorry.
Landon Roberts, from Marv and myself, in this post-game show, we give you a
sorry.
I see my boy Clifton coming at me saying, Dag, how can I give Dwayne Allen a sorry? Look, he does a great job blocking. Like Clifton said, he did a great job against Khalil Mack. Khalil Mack was a little hurt, though, coming into this game, so we won't even get into all of that. He didn't have a big impact on this game. So I'm not giving a sorry to Dwayne Allen because he's not a good blocker. He's a great blocker, but the fact that he just was a receiving tight end and now his role has just diminished to just being blocking. That's like working at a grocery store, and sometimes you can be the cashier, but sometimes they need you to bag. But there comes a point in time like, look, we don't want you behind the register anymore. Just just keep to bagging until you got to clock out.
You're a good bagger. You know, you just stay that. You
no
bag
more cashier
so well.
for you. Just stay at the paper or plastic. That's all your life for the rest of your time in the Patriots uniform. So it is what it is. Any more thoughts on this game, this matchup with the Chicago Bears, and then moving forward to next week against the Buffalo Bills?
Ryan Allen got brought up as being a sorry. I remember the last punt, Mike.
Oh yes.
I even asked you, like, what was that? You know, Ryan Allen hasn't had a good year, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Patriots brought in a punter during training camp to really, like, you know, see what's up with Ryan Allen. And, you know, he won the job, obviously, because the punter didn't even play during preseason. But Ryan Allen, that was funny money. The whole special teams this year has been funny money. They made up for it with Cordarrelle Patterson with the nice kick return touchdown, and you had the block punt by Dante Hightower, but it's been off balance. The only one who's been really great is Gostkowski.
Yep.
Gostkowski's been really solid, except for that kickoff last week where it was like a squid kick, or 2 weeks ago. That was weird.
I don't know, but
yeah, man, that's all I gotta say. Special teams, we gotta shore that up.
True, you know, special teams is a huge part of the game. That's why Matthew Slater's headed to the Hall of Fame one day, because Matthew Slater is one of the greatest, the great special team players to ever suit up.
Don't do that.
Guy, not a receiver. You know, he's not even bagging groceries. He might be outside pushing carts, to be honest. But he's great at his job at pushing those carts and being a special team player.
Oh my God.
Oh man, Marv hates Matthew Slater.
I don't hate Matthew Slater. When have you ever seen me say I hate Matthew
Marv
Slater?
Doesn't
I just don't get. I just don't get how Matthew Slater just became.
He's a
superstar.
Captain of the team. He's one of the voices in the locker room. The players look up.
I don't hate Matthew Slater. Don't listen to this guy.
All right. With all that being said, though, I do have some shout-outs, though.
Okay.
Shout-out number one, Celtics are back underway. Shout-out to the Celtics doing their thing. And obviously, number two, Red Sox to the World Series. They will be taking on the Los Angeles Dodgers. What a time it is for Boston sports. Patriots are playing. Celtics are playing. Red Sox are playing. Bruins are playing. Can any other sports city really say that they have all four of their major teams playing? The Patriots have Boston teams have done this a number of times.
Yeah, and know what's crazy about all of this? As hard as Boston is, LA's kind of hard as well. There's a chance where you could see chances where, you know, you got Dodgers, Red Sox, you got Celtics, maybe Lakers, you got what other team am I thinking about? Patriots, maybe Rams. You know, these Western Eastern Conference teams are both on the rise at the same time, which makes for a great rivalry. But yeah, man, I'm loving it. Boston Red Sox, let's go.
Yeah, man, we're all looking forward to a Boston Red Sox World Series win. So shout out to them for sure. But with that being said, we will be back here live again right after the game where the Patriots take on the Bills. Tune in, check us out, holding it down with all the breakdown, the analysis, the recap of that matchup. And yeah, I think we are ready to sign out.
Yes, sir.
So for Marvin and Ezhan, I am Mike Molyneaux. This has been the CLNS Media's Patriots Postgame Show, again, powered by CLNS Media Network, the leading online provider of audio and video coverage for all Boston sports. We will see you guys next week.